If you don't like how I live my life, leave, she said before going clubbing with her best guy. So, I did. Packed everything I own while she was dancing. When she got back at 3 a.m. expecting a fight, she found empty closets and a note. You're right. I don't like it. So, I left. Hey viewers, before we jump into the video, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want more stories like this. Thanks. Hey Reddit, throwaway account for obvious reasons. I'm writing this because I honestly need to get it off my chest. It's been a wild ride, and looking back, it feels like one of those stories you read and think, there's no way that actually happened. But it did. To me, I'm Alex, 28, a software developer who's always prided himself on being the steady one, the guy who shows up, pays the bills, and builds toward a future. And Sarah, she was my girlfriend of 3 years. Or at least, I thought she was building that future with me. We met in college at a mutual friend's party. She was a vibrant, outgoing art major who lit up the room with her laugh. I was the quiet engineering student in the corner, nursing a beer and trying not to spill it on my laptop. Somehow, we clicked. She said I grounded her, made her feel safe. I fell hard. After graduation, she struggled to find steady work in her field, bouncing between freelance gigs and waitressing. I landed a solid job at a tech firm, and we moved into a cozy apartment in the city. I covered most of the rent so she could focus on her passion projects, painting, photography, whatever inspired her that week. At first, it was great. I'd come home from long coding sessions and she'd have dinner ready, or we binge-watch shows curled up on the couch. But over time, things changed. Sarah started going out more. Girls' nights that turned into all-nighters. She'd come home smelling like smoke and cheap cocktails, collapse into bed without a word. I didn't mind at first. Everyone needs space, but then the comparisons started. Why can't you loosen up like my friends? She'd say during arguments. You're always so predictable. It stung, but I brushed it off. I loved her. I believed we were a team. Flashback to about 6 months ago. One night stands out clearly. I just pulled an all-nighter fixing a bug for a major client deadline. Exhausted, I got home and found her dressed up, scrolling through her phone. She mentioned she was heading out with some friends, including Jake, her best guy friend from work. Jake was a bartender at the place she waitressed part-time, always posting shirtless gym selfies online. The kind of guy who thrived on attention. I'd met him a few times. He seemed harmless enough, but the way Sarah lit up whenever she talked about him made my stomach knot. That night, I suggested we stay in instead. We've barely seen each other this week, I said, trying to keep it light. Maybe order pizza. Watch that movie you've been talking about. She rolled her eyes, applying another layer of lipstick in the mirror. Alex, not tonight. Jake's DJing at this club downtown. It's going to be epic. You should come and loosen up for once. I hesitated. Clubs weren't my thing. The crowds, the noise. After a long day, they drained me. But more than that, I didn't like how close she was getting to Jake. I'd seen the texts on her phone. Emojis, inside jokes. I'm just worried. I admitted. You and Jake seem really close lately. Is there something I should know? That's when it escalated. She turned around, her expression a mix of annoyance and smugness. Worried about what, Alex? That I'm having fun without you? Jake's just a friend. He gets me. He lives life. He doesn't sit around coding all day. The words hit hard, but I stayed calm. I'm not trying to control you, Sarah. I just feel like we are drifting. You've been out every weekend, and when you're home, you're on your phone. It makes me feel like I'm not enough. She laughed. A sharp, dismissive sound that cut deep. Not enough? Maybe you're right. If you don't like how I live my life, then leave. I'm not changing for anyone. I'm young. I want excitement, not this boring routine. Jake invites me out because he knows how to have fun. If you're jealous, that's on you. Her words hung in the air like a slap. I stood there stunned as she grabbed her purse and headed for the door. Don't wait up, she tossed over her shoulder with a smirk. I'll be back late. I didn't beg. I didn't yell. Something inside me just shut down. For months, I'd poured everything into us. Skipped happy hours with coworkers to be home for her. Turned down a promotion that would have required relocating because she didn't want to move. And this was what I got. Dismissed like a nagging parent. As the door slammed, I sat on the couch staring at the wall. The confusion hit hard. Why was I the villain for wanting stability? For loving her enough to build something real, right? I thought about all the sacrifices. The weekend trip I canceled because she had a crisis at work, only to find out later she went out with friends instead. The way she'd post photos from her nights out captioned, "Living my best life," while I sat home alone, wondering if I even fit into that life anymore. But that night, her words echoed in my head. If you don't like how I live my life, leave. Fine, I would. I started packing methodically and quietly. My clothes from the closet, books from the shelves, the few gadgets that were mine. I left her things untouched, the paintings on the walls, the knickknacks she'd collected. I even left the shared furniture. I didn't want to fight over petty stuff. By 1 a.m., my car was loaded. I scribbled a note on a sticky pad and left it on the kitchen counter. You're right, I don't like it, so I left. Take care. No drama, no accusations, just detachment. I drove a couple of hours to a buddy's place. He'd always offered his couch, and I crashed there. My phone was on silent. For the first time in years, I felt a strange sense of peace beneath the hurt. The next morning, my phone exploded. Missed calls, texts, dozens from Sarah. I ignored them at first, nursing a coffee and trying to process everything. The confusion lingered. Had I overreacted? Was I the one throwing it all away? But no, her words replayed in my head. She'd made it clear I was optional. A backup to her exciting life with Jake. Around noon, I finally answered when she called for what felt like the 100th time. My voice was steady. No hint of the storm inside me. "Alex, what the hell?" She burst out, her tone a mix of shock and anger. "I come home at 3 a.m. and the place is half empty. Your stuff's gone. And that note, are you serious?" "Yes, Sarah, I am." She paused, like she expected me to backtrack. "This is ridiculous. You packed up and left because I went out. You're acting like a child. Jake and I were just dancing, having fun. Nothing happened. You're overreacting to nothing. Nothing." I repeated calmly. "You've been pulling away for months. Late nights, constant texts with him, making me feel like I'm holding you back. You told me if I didn't like it, I should leave. So I did." Her voice shifted, coded in the twisted logic sheet. "Perfected, Ray. Okay, fine. Maybe I've been distant. But relationships have ups and downs. You can't just bail without talking. Jake's fun, yeah, but he's not you. You're the stable one, the one I come home to. Don't you get that? I need both. Excitement and security. Monogamy is outdated anyway. Everyone experiments. If you're insecure about it, that's your issue. Come back and we'll work it out. I'll cut back on going out." I almost laughed at the hypocrisy. She wanted me as the safety net while she chased whatever she wanted. No apology, just justification. "No, Sarah, we're done. I deserve better than being your backup plan." "Backup? That's not fair. You're twisting everything. Jake understands that life isn't all serious. He doesn't judge me for wanting fun. If you loved me, you'd fight for us, not run away like a coward." Her words stung, but I didn't react. "Goodbye, Sarah." I hung up, blocked her number, and that was it. No outburst, no pleading. Just the end. I stayed on my buddy's couch, staring at the ceiling, replaying every sacrifice, like the time I loaned her money for art supplies, only to find out later she'd spent it on a weekend getaway with friends, Jake included, or the vague, disrespectful posts she'd share online, memes about boring boyfriends, while her followers laughed, and I pretended not to notice. It felt so undeserved. I'd been loyal, committed, and for what? To be tossed aside like yesterday's news. I didn't confront her or lash out. Instead, I focused on myself. I stayed in a cheap motel for a week, then found a sublet a few hours away in a new city. I transferred within my company. No promotion, just a fresh start. I started going to the gym, reconnected with old friends, and even began therapy to untangle the confusion. Why had I allowed myself to be treated that way for so long? G-sivity. At first, the silence was deafening, but slowly it became clarity. I wasn't the problem. Her entitlement was lifted. Her entitlement was. Sarah spun the story, painting me as the controlling jerk who abandoned her. But cracks started to show. Jake wasn't just a best friend. She admitted they'd hooked up that night at the club, and it spiraled from there. She moved in with him impulsively, quit her job for more freedom. But Jake was unstable, partying hard, bouncing between gigs, with a temper when things got serious. It didn't take long for the consequences to catch up. though I wasn't chasing updates. A couple of weeks after I left, a mutual friend, Mike, reached out. He was one of the few who didn't buy Sarah's version. "Dude, you okay?" He texted. "Things are imploding over here." I kept it brief. "I'm good. What's up?" On a quick call, Mike filled me in. Sarah had gone all in with Jake that night at the club. Yeah, it wasn't just dancing. They hooked up, and she flaunted it like some kind of victory. Posted cryptic stories about new beginnings and embracing freedom. But Jake wasn't the fantasy she imagined. He was a serial partier, bouncing from one high to the next with a trail of exes who'd left for good reason. Unstable didn't even begin to cover it. He'd explode over nothing, disappear for days, then pull her back in with charm. At first, Sarah quit her waitressing job, convinced Jake's connections would land her something better in the art world. They moved into his rundown downtown place, living off his bartending tips and whatever savings she had left. Reality hit fast. Jake showed his true colors, verbal jabs whenever she asked for commitment, using her for rides and money, then ditching her for other women at parties. One night, it escalated. He trashed the apartment in a rage after she questioned a late-night text from an ex. She called the cops but downplayed it to friends. "Just a rough patch," she said. Her unraveling accelerated. Without a job, the bills stacked up. Mutual friends started distancing themselves as the truth leaked out. Sarah had been emotionally cheating for months, bad-mouthing me behind my back to justify it. "Alex is too safe," she'd say. "I need passion." Now, with Jake flaking on her, she was isolated. Her posts shifted from triumphant to vague cries for help. When life throws curveballs, the comments dried up. People saw through it. Jake kicked her out mid-fight, claiming she was too clingy. He moved on to the next fling, leaving her scrambling. She crashed with her sister, but that fell apart quickly. Family drama followed, her mom enabling her but offering no real support. Broke, jobless, her reputation in shambles. The friends who once cheered her glow up had ghosted her, realizing she'd burned every bridge. Through all of it, I stayed detached. No gloating, no checking her socials. The middle of it wasn't easy for me either. The silence after the storm was heavy. I'd wake up in my new sublet, a small studio with bare walls, and feel the weight of everything. The confusion lingered. How would I miss the signs? The late nights I excused as stress relief. The way she compared me to Jake's adventurous vibe, making me feel like less of a man. Flashback to last Christmas. I surprised her with a custom easel for her art, paid for with overtime I'd scraped together. She gushed, thanked me. Weeks later, it collected dust while she partied. Undeserved. All of it. I let myself sit with the unfairness, journaling through it in therapy. "You were loyal," my therapist said. She wasn't. That's on her. Slowly, my arc shifted. I threw myself into work and nailed a project that earned me a raise. I joined a hiking group and made new friends who valued reliability over chaos. I started dating casually, not serious, but it reminded me I wasn't boring. I was steady. The fog cleared. I wasn't confused anymore. I was free. Sarah's attempts to crawl back began subtly, then escalated into desperation. After a few weeks, I unblocked her. Maybe out of curiosity, maybe for closure. The first text came about a month after I left. Ping after ping, late at night. "Bae, Alex, can we talk? I miss our talks. I know I messed up. Jake was a mistake. Let's meet." I ignored them. Silence was my answer. Then the calls increased. One evening, while I was cooking dinner in my new place, my phone rang. I let it go to voicemail, but later curiosity got the better of me. "Alex, please pick up. Things with Jake, they're not what I thought. He used me. Dumped me like trash. I see now how good we had it. You were always there. Call me back." I felt nothing. No sympathy. She had chosen this. A week later, it escalated again. She showed up at my old workplace. She must have gotten the address from a mutual, but since I'd transferred, she hit a dead end. So she sent in her toxic circle. Her best friend Lisa, the constant enabler, texted me. "Sarah's hurting bad. Be a man and hear her out. She's family to us." I replied simply, "Not my problem." Then came the family ambush. Her mom called from an unknown number. I answered, thinking it was work. "Alex, this is Karen, Sarah's mom. You need to talk to her. She's devastated. How could you just disappear like that?" After everything she's been through. I kept my tone even. She told me to leave if I didn't like her life. I didn't, so I left. Karen scoffed, as unpleasant as ever. That's childish. Relationships take work. Sarah's young. She made a mistake. Jake's a loser, but you stable. Come back and fix this. Her say. Rise fed up with her staying there. Sarah needs you. I almost hung up, but I stayed firm. No. We're over. Sarah must have been listening because she grabbed the phone. Alex, Mom's right. I was stupid. Okay? I thought Jake was exciting, but he hit me verbally. I mean, he left me broke. I realize now you were the real thing. Please, let's start over. I'll change. Her voice cracked, but it carried that same manipulation. Excuses, not accountability. You said monogamy was outdated. I reminded her calmly. That I was holding you back. Enjoy your freedom. Her tone flipped instantly. Anger surfacing. Her true colors again. Freedom? Look where it got me. Alone. While you're out there playing the victim, how dare you block me? Ignore me? You're selfish, Alex. I gave you 3 years. Gave me. I echoed. You took. Goodbye. Click. Her attempts peaked when she showed up at Mike's place. He'd slipped and mentioned I'd stayed there briefly, and she showed up pounding on his door at 10 p.m., reeking of desperation. Mike texted me a heads up. I wasn't there, but he told me later what happened. She ranted, "Tell Alex to man up. I need him. Everything's falling apart because of him." After that, nothing. Radio silence. Fast forward 6 months. I'd built a solid life, a promotion at work, a nicer apartment. I'd even met someone new, Emily, a graphic designer who appreciated my steady nature instead of mocking it. No chaos, just mutual respect. I was invited to Mike's wedding, a small outdoor ceremony in a park, a few hours from the old city. Mutual friends would be there, including some who knew Sarah. I went feeling evolved, not vengeful. She showed up uninvited, slipping through a side gate during the reception. She looked disheveled, hair messy, dress wrinkled like she'd driven straight from wherever she'd been. Her eyes scanned the crowd until they locked on. Oh, me, laughing with Emily at our table. Alex, she called, weaving through the guests. Heads turned, whispers spread. She reached me, breathless. We need to talk. Now. I stood calm, Emily at my side, confused but supportive. Sarah, this isn't the place. Her eyes flicked to Emily, then back to me. Desperation spilled out. Who's she? Whatever. Alex, please. I'm sorry for everything. Jake ruined me. I'm in therapy now. Working on myself. I lost my friends, my job. But we were good. Remember? Give me another chance. Guests stared. Mike shot me a concerned look from across the space. But I felt nothing. No pity, no anger, just indifference. Sarah, I said firmly, my voice steady, you've been irrelevant to me for months. I built this life without your drama. You told me to leave if I didn't like it. I did, and I'm thriving. Emily is part of that. Go live your life. Mine doesn't include you. She stared at me, stunned. The hypocrisy cracked through. Thriving with her? You're just replacing me to spite me. I deserve better than this rejection. No, I replied, the reversal unmistakable in the air. Her desperate me grounded. You deserve what you chose. Goodbye. She stormed off, muttering curses as friends murmured about the audacity of it all. Later, Mike confided in me. She's hit bottom, couch surfing, begging for gigs, seeing you happy. That broke her. For me, it was closure. Walking away from that wedding hand in hand with Emily, I felt free. Sarah was a ghost from a past life. Forgotten, powerless. I had vanished from her world and built something unshakable in mine. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share your thoughts in the comments.